If you are a business owner, entrepreneur, founder, or CEO of a company, and you want to get authority and new clients, how can you get that authority? By writing a book. How can you write a book? You have to turn your knowledge, expertise, and wisdom into a book that attracts new clients and media opportunities in as little as 90 days and become a #1 best-selling author. How can you achieve it? My today's guest has solution to all of these challenges of writing a book. Give me a warm welcome to our today's guest, Doug Crowe. Welcome, Doug.
Nice to meet you, Yousaf. Thank you for having me.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
I got started in the publishing world quite by accident. I spent 20 years as a real estate investor, developer, radio show host. And when the big decline in the real estate market, during my little boohoo phase, I wrote a book, and the book was awful. It was just garbage. But I had done that radio show on ABC for a number of years and was able to interview some pretty famous authors. So I called up a couple of them and said, how does the author thing work? Because my book was awful. And they told me, two of the very famous ones said, oh, we didn't write the book. We're the authors, but we're not a writer. They hired people to help them. So over the years, I perfected a process of journalism, ghostwriting, editing, publishing, and marketing to really help people get their message out there where the book sounds like them. It's got their same tone of voice and quality, but they don't have to write a word.
Okay, wonderful. And can you please tell me about your life story?
I was raised in Ohio by a couple of wonderful parents, and the Midwestern life was really charming, just like you see in the movies in the 70s and whatnot. I went to school at Northwestern University in Chicago and graduated a semester early with a degree in radio, television, and film. And that's where I worked at the CBS TV station, where I met Robert Allen, came in for an interview. He wrote No Money Down and a bunch of books. And during the break, I went up to him and said, hey, this real estate thing sounds fun. How's it work? Oh, come to my big seminar this weekend in Cleveland. It's $5,000. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making $3.10 an hour at the time. I said, I can't afford to come to that seminar. He said, go to the library and check out my book then. So I did. And I checked out his book and I read it, and I didn't do anything for a year. And I finally bought my first piece of property at age like 25 or so, and it just went from there.
What are the top 3 success secrets which others can get as a cheat sheet and implement right now in their business?
Great question. The most important things a lot of people tell you are mindset, strategy, and tactics, right? There's all very important. There's going to be more than 3, but I'm going to say the top one, the one that I have struggled with in my past and continue to be mindful of, is something that people don't talk about too much, and that's belief. We always have this conversation in our heads about what we should do next. What should I do now? And there's this governor, this thing that says, oh, don't try that. That's way too big. And you'll never get to that level. And every time I meet somebody who is super successful, I've got a couple of friends who are multimillionaires, 2 or 3 billionaire clients. They don't do anything. There's no way they would consider doing a small deal, business, or anything. It's like, why would I waste my time on that? If you're going to do anything, you might as well go big. The problem most people have is they don't really believe. They may talk it or hope, but that's not a strategy. You got to really take the belief that when I was in real estate, I quickly learned that the amount of energy and time and resources it took to buy one house, the same amount of energy and time and resources to buy a 24-unit apartment building. So very quickly, I moved from houses into larger properties. And the same thing is true with business. If you're going to do any strategy of growing a business or starting a business, don't think too small. You can act small to start. You've got to start somewhere, but always focus on your belief and expectation that you can create a big business out of anything you do. So that's the top one. If you're looking for 2 more, I would say patience and perseverance. If you persevere, never quit, you're gonna have some result. And if you're not patient about it, you're gonna quit. So those 2 go hand in hand. Have good amount of patience, but also persevere through that, so you'll have a positive result.
When you think big, you can achieve big. Like you should have a proper mindset.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What is the single most failure in your professional life? What lesson have you learned, and how did you recover from it?
Oh my gosh. See, there's been more than one. I think of the biggest failure of my life was in the real estate days when I was buying properties. I was buying apartment buildings and office buildings and doing condo conversions. And I had an airplane. I was doing very well. And during that journey in my 40s, nothing ever went wrong for me. Everything I touched turned to gold. I'm like, wow, I can't fail. And one day God's like, hey, you know what? It's time to teach you a lesson. So in the matter of, what it was, 20 years of building, in 9 months, it all went away. I had not just one foreclosure, but 19 foreclosures, bankruptcy, divorce, seriously considered ending my own life. There's a lot of things that happened in those 9 months that was very dark times. And I'm not the only person that experienced that. So I'm not saying any boohoo thing, but I had read the same books that a lot of people read. Most millionaires have been broke 2.2 times in their life. You'll just get back on and do it again. And I had read those books before becoming a millionaire. I read them when I was in bankruptcy, and it wasn't the same book. When I read it before, I was inspired. When I read it during my dark times, I didn't believe it. I was so depressed that the words had no meaning to me. And it took me a good few years to really get out of that guilt, shame, and blaming myself for making the mistakes that I did. So it was a pretty big mistake to lose everything and in your late 40s, early 50s. I don't know what year it was now. See, that's good. One of the things is to learn to put it in the past. But the biggest lesson was what we mentioned earlier, which was patience and perseverance with a mindset, and not just a mindset, a belief and expectation that it can get better. And it's a lesson now, Yousaf, but the funny thing is at the time, it's hard to think that way, right? When you're in the middle of battle, it's hard to say, oh, it's going to turn out because you're in battle. And so when I'm in there, I was blinded by the future. All I could see was the desperation and the sadness of the present. In hindsight, oh yeah, you can learn from your failures, but it's very hard to see that when you're in it. You have to be very careful with that, because a lot of friends and mentors will tell you, oh, dust yourself off, get back on the horse, you can do it again. Yeah, you can, but you also have to deal with the present situation of being, like in my case, I was broke, homeless, had no money, I had to recycle a paper towel on my kitchen counter. And I wasn't in a kitchen, but it was in the basement, but I had no money to buy a paper towel. I had to dry it out and recycle it. So these are memorable moments I learned from, but at the time, it's just horrible.
What are your immediate plans to grow your business?
My immediate plans to grow a business are focusing back on owning my own media. I've been like a lot of podcasts. I'm a contributor to entrepreneur.com. And it's a great thing to do. I enjoy sharing my experiences on other people's platforms. But at the end of the day, everything is temporary. And the one thing that's every entrepreneur should do that I'm focusing on is creating my own community and my own media where people can come there for content, community, advice, wisdom, opportunities. So that's our main focus, is creating our own media for our future authors and our current authors and entrepreneurs.
What challenges are you facing right now?
Oh boy, let's see. Probably two of them that come to mind. Bandwidth is something that we always struggle with in terms of resources. Like, we have a lot of projects that we're working on and only so many hours of the day to accomplish them. And it's an entrepreneur struggle. It's easy when you're a solopreneur. So it's you, maybe some VAs, whatnot. Okay. And then at my level, where I've got a small team of 8 full-timers, 30 part-timers, you hit this point where, man, I could really hire 2 more people and add like another 100,000 to payroll. But wow, that's a lot of money. So there's this, what do you do? And a lot of entrepreneurs, well, they go into debt or they tough it out. So it's a real problem of that tipping point of growth. We're doing fine. We make plenty of money, make payroll every single month. But the next level is going to require something new, which is either an infusion of cash or organic growth of a bunch more clients where we can use our own resources to hire that next 1 or 2 positions.
Who is your ideal client?
Ideal client, great question. There is 2 demographics that instantly earn a discount from me and my praise and admiration. And that would be professional athletes and veterans. I have had a very small handful of clients in those professions, and every single time, these people, they show up on time, they pay on time, they ask the right questions, they do things, part of our collaboration when it's due, and they're also humble enough to take advice from us when we say we need to do this, they just do it. So they're the best clients in the world. If anybody listening knows that trend, or a professional athlete that wants to get a book done, I will pay them a very fat affiliate commission just for the introduction.
People who are watching this right now, how can they support?
They can support me by helping me support them. I'm a real big fan of serving and by leadership. So what I would suggest is if somebody is interested in either providing a referral or maybe even writing their own book or having us write their book for them, I'd like to offer them something to help them. Whether they work with me or not does not matter. But the biggest problem people have is they invest time and or money and months of their life to create a book. And the book comes out and nobody's reading it or buying it. And why is that? It's because they didn't do something before that, which is research. What we do with our clients is we spend a good month or month and a half doing research on their idea, their category, and competing books. We do a focus group. We create mock-up titles and covers to test in the marketplace. We'll go and pull data from over 100 other Amazon reviews to find out what people are saying about books in their category. And we prepare like a 20-page report for these clients to say, listen, this is what we found out about your category. Great idea here. This one needs work. And we do all this before we write the book so that when the book comes out, it's a home run. We know in advance it's going to work because we've done a lot of research ahead of time. So what I want to offer anybody watching this is a chance to start that research for them with no cost whatsoever. I will hop on a call and go through their idea with them, give them some advice, some pointers, and there's no obligation, nothing to buy. They can go to authoryourbrand.com/go and book a call with me and fill it out. It's right below there. That's scary. authoryourbrand.com/go. LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/in/the Doug
What would you say as a final word?
Final word is, wow, that's a good question. I'm going to say that everybody, not everybody, I'll tell you what, there's been research on this. 84% of people have thought about writing a book. Less than 1% ever do. It's a big gap. And there's a reason for that gap. It's overwhelming, it's intimidating, it's hard. And our firm has figured out how to address all of that. We either do it for you or you work with us. There's a lot of variables there. But if you've got a story to tell, everybody does, it's important to document that because the social media, the internet, it's a stream and nobody remembers what they saw last year, let alone an hour ago. But a book is forever. So I encourage anybody to consider what their book would be about and to hop on a call with us and explore it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Doug, for sharing your wisdom with us on the behalf of Integrate Success Formula Show and my entire team. Stay blessed. Have a good day.
Thank you.